Sounds good. Thank you. So, Dan, welcome back. I'm so happy to see you. So, tell me, what can we expect in a puppy bowl this year?
This year, we truly are bigger and better than ever. We remain the biggest, the original, the longest running call to adoption event in the world. But with a 150 dog roster this year, we've topped ourselves. And we're so excited to show you what we've got. Dogs, every shape, size, background, even age. We've got super seniors competing during halftime as well. So something for everybody.
Like you said, how do you choose which dogs you have? Because I think my three dogs that are sitting next to me now are a little jealous they weren't invited this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, I mean, that puppy window isn't big because we have to kind of keep them within this really tight time frame of 3 to 6 months. So they have to be between 3 and 6 months of age, be untrained puppies, and of course be up for adoption. Unless, of course, there are senior adoptables that are playing during the halftime show. So really, that's what it takes, and we want to showcase as many different dogs as possible, different breeds, different sizes, and different backgrounds.
And which breed would you say was your favorite?
Well, I grew up with dachshunds, so I'm partial to them. You tend to, I think, to be partial to the dogs you had as a kid. Um, but I really, at this point now, I fostered so many different dogs now as an adult that I really do love. I have something to love in every single breed and breed mix.
Nice. And going off topic a little bit, how do you foster it, not want to give him back? Because my one dog I have is a foster fail, and I don't think I
Yeah.
could ever foster again without keeping all the dogs.
It's just great. It's so satisfying to be able to foster and see them go through the process of meeting their adoptive family, having a successful adoption, stalking them on Instagram afterwards and seeing them grown up, and then moving on to the next dog. When you foster, in our minds, you're saving kind of two lives because you're making room in the shelter by fostering for the next dog. And then if you continue to foster, which we did, we foster over, let's see, 40 dogs in 10 years. You're able to give back so much more. So for me, it was the giving back portion of it and the seeing them thrive portion of it and the excitement about the next dog ahead that made it so easy for me to do fostering.
So what kind of dogs do you have now that you're fostering, or do you have, which ones are your own?
Yeah, we adopted a dog. We adopted a little mini poodle that we had 2.5 years ago at Puppy Bowl. I met her then. She was my assistant referee. She was in a referee costume just like this, and we fell in love. And she's our forever dog.
That is so cute. I love that. And so speaking of refereeing, what are the biggest challenges of having that job other than wanting to play with the dogs and cuddle with all the dogs?
I think the biggest challenge is besides, watching where you step and, make sure you don't step into a little puppy surprise. The other challenge is deciding which penalties and fouls are worth calling because puppies are constantly breaking the rules in Puppy Bowl, constantly. And we sometimes have to turn a blind eye to the penalties that you see in order to resume the game, to keep the game going. So you really have to go for the really egregious fouls. So we might see, for example, a puppy relieve themselves. That's normal. We're not going to penalize them for that. But if it's very egregious, we'll call a foul for, uh, unsportsmanlike digestive conduct. And then, we will give them a little bit of a timeout. That's their penalty for that. We're not really punishing the dogs. Or we have a water bowl at the 40-yard line that the dogs can drink out of. There's even a camera below it, so you can get a water bowl view of the dogs drinking. But sometimes the dogs, and it's okay if they drink a little too long. Again, we're not going to penalize them for that. Sometimes they'll literally jump into the bowl and just hang out in there. And so we call that illegal bathing or excessive hydration. And we will have to give them a little timeout for that too. So you got to pick your battles.
True, that's true. And as you can see, I have my little laughing moment there. How do you do that without laughing? I mean, I know I would be like totally, I'll be like, don't, and I'll start laughing. So how do you keep a
My
straight
first year,
face?
right, because my first year I did laugh, but after 15 years of doing it, you feel like you've seen, I can't say I've seen it all. I haven't seen it all, but you've seen most of it all. So not everything is going to surprise you the way it once did. That's probably what's gotten me through it. It's just, I've been there before.
And how do you think that kind of piggybacks on my next one? How do you think the show's evolved in the last 15 years?
Well, it's evolved in that, again, our roster, when I first started, we had a roster of, I think, 47, 48. when I started 15 years ago. And of course, that number has since tripled in 15 years. So that's a big way. We've also gone from a 2 hour event to a 3 hour event. We're technically a 4 hour event if you count the pregame show. Now we have a pregame kickoff, which, that's at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can watch puppy skill contest, 3-bone drill, 40-inch dash, all the things that puppies need to do in order to compete in Puppy Bowl. And the best part of the 1 hour kickoff is that you get to see those final 10 puppies get drafted in order to appear on Puppy Bowl, which will begin right at 2 o'clock. So really, it's a 4 hour event, and that's a big, big way that we've expanded over the years too.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think that is awesome. So what's your favorite little event that they have that they play with?
My favorite little event.
Yeah, they have like all the cool things that they do, like you mentioned, like the
Oh yeah.
bonding. Yeah, what's your
So we have,
favorite?
yeah, 3-bone drill. We have the 40-yard dash. We have the hurdles. We have the hoop jump. I would say hurdles are fun because we also have agility ladder. I'd say out of all of them, I'm still going to go with hurdles. I love watching dogs jump, especially, if I have a minute, I'll take my camera and put it into slow-mo mode and just catch that in slow motion. And it's so great. Even the clumsiest puppy looks insanely graceful if you slow-mo them jumping over a hurdle. So you can really get the whole length of a dog. You get a lot of insight into their muscular structure. So yeah, I would say the hurdles are my favorite portion.
Right. Did you ever have a moment where the dog just like did not? I know you talked about this a little bit before, where the dog just did not want to cooperate. He or she was just like, nope, I'm just not going to do it, and just like go to sleep or.
Oh yeah. Every single puppy bowl will have dogs and we'll have to penalize them for excessive slumber or siesta on the 16 for illegal napping happens on the sidelines more than you'd think. That's just some of them, but I had a dog fall asleep while I was giving them a penalty, literally speaking to the dog, and he was so bored with my voice that he fell asleep in my arms. So yes, I've seen it all, and yet they continue to surprise me.
Yeah, what's next for you now that the Puppy Bowl is getting ready to air this Sunday? What do you have next that you're going to be doing?
Well, involved in some Bark in the Parks coming up. So, once Puppy Bowl football season is over, I move on to other dogs in sports, and that's baseball. So, baseball season's around the corner. So, we'll be getting ready for some Bark in the Parks coming up in the spring. Look out for that. It should be fun. That's not actually dogs playing football, or baseball. That's dogs at the ballpark. But it's still that mix of dogs and sports that I love so much.
Yeah, and how did you get into this in the first place? That's what I'm curious about. You like sports, you like dogs, you decide why
Yep.
not combine it, or
Yeah, pretty much. That really, I mean, the reason I got the job because I didn't start at the beginning of Puppy Bowl. I started, 8 seasons
yeah, I
in.
remember.
But I've always, yeah, had that love of dog and sports. And prior to being on Puppy Bowl, I hosted a sports trivia show for a network here in New York called SNY Network. And I think that love of you know, fringe sports, and I guess you'd call Puppy Bowl a fringe sport at this point, uncommon sports has always been something that I loved. And the fact that we're doing good as well by getting them all adopted is icing on the cake.
That's good. And how can people that are watching maybe adopt a dog? Do you have something like that with the Puppy Bowl, or how does
Very
that work?
easy. It's super easy. It's exactly what you think. Go to puppybowl.com. It's that simple. And that will immediately connect you with every dog in our roster, their shelters, and you can connect them directly with the shelter through the website.
And how can shelters collaborate with the Puppy Bowl? Do they just call you guys? How do they do it? If they
Yeah.
said, "Oh, lots of shelters are looking for homes for their little babies."
Yeah, 100%. Again, through the website, through our Instagram as well on Animal Planet, you can DM them as well, or you can DM me. I'm on Instagram as well, Puppy Bowl Ref. And then if you connect with me or anyone, they'll give you a general email, which is I forget her name, but it's somebody at puppybowl.com, and then they'll take the submissions. And yeah, we're always looking. Look, 72 shelters got involved this year, so that's, I think, a record for us as well. So the more the merrier, and we always try to include as many different types as possible.
And where do you see Puppy Bowl being in the next 10 years? How do you see it?
Bigger. I mean, I can only guess, given our track record, we're only going to get bigger. Will we reach 200? Probably in the next 10 years to a 200 pup roster. I think we'll continue to include even more seniors and more special needs dogs. And I would think that our halftime shows will continue to get bigger and better as well. So supersize. That's what I think.
Yeah. And what has been your favorite halftime show with these dogs?
I like Kitty Gaga. She was pretty good years ago, and also Katy Perry. Those were my two. But this year's halftime show looks pretty good. We got our kitten halftime. I know they've got Bad Bunny with human football, but we've got Bad Kitty, so that's going to be pretty good. And we've also got our super seniors, senior adoptable dogs, playing an exhibition game at halftime. We've separated them into Goldies versus Oldies, and it's just a senior dog mini bowl during Super Bowl halftime, Puppy Bowl halftime, but it is our Super Bowl. And that should be great too, because, seniors do deserve our love as well and often have a harder time getting adopted.
That is very true. I know the shelter by where I live. I live in Pennsylvania. The seniors are it's the hardest to get. I always see on Facebook and Instagram they're
Yeah.
looking for them. And if I had a bigger house, believe me, they would all be in my house.
Yeah, I hear you. Same here. Same here. It's an important cause.
It absolutely is. And one thing I love asking people in interviews, tell me something fun about yourself.
Well, I have two kids. I have a dog. I live in Brooklyn. I guess that's not really fun. What's really fun is that I host dog trivia around New York City. So, dog trivia events, specifically dogs and pop culture. So, I try to become as much of an expert as I can in random pop culture facts that only involve dogs, dogs in movies, dogs in TV shows, that kind of thing.
Okay, that is the coolest thing I ever heard. And I'm from New York originally too. So next time I'm in New York, I
Yeah,
am definitely gonna have to do that.
please look me up. Yeah, it's on my
Yes.
Instagram. Look it up. Definitely.
All right, they're telling me I'm out of time, but I want to ask you, describe Puppy Bowl in 3 words for 2026.
Uh, Adorable, huge, chaotic.
I love it. And my dogs all say hello. And this is a little aside. All my animals, my dogs and my cats, all have pop culture names. So
Like what?
okay. The dogs are Linus, Sophie, and Opal from the
Yeah,
Peanuts
of
cartoons.
course.
Sophie's from Golden Girls and my sister's favorite author. Opal's from All My Children. Cats are Buffy, McNabb, Dobson, and Benson. Buffy is actually from Family Affair. Then
Um,
McNabb and Dobson are both from Psych, but Dobson we also call Dobby for Harry Potter, and Benson's from that old show Soap and Benson.
got it. Psych, Harry Potter. Wait, and go backwards to your dogs one more time. You said, what was the second name after Linus? Opal?
Sophie, and Opal. Yes.
Sophie was a Golden Girl dog, you said?
Yeah, go back after Sophia and then my sister's
Oh,
favorite
after
author.
Sophia. I was gonna say, because was
Yes.
there yeah, did they ever have a dog on Golden Girl? Yeah, I bet
No,
you.
which is after Sophia.
Yeah. But I bet if we checked, Betty White's character, probably had talked some St. Olaf story about some dog in St. Olaf back in the day. I bet we could find one.
I
That'd
am
be
gonna
interesting.
find one and I'm gonna bring it just for you.
Do it. I'd love it for my trivia. That'd be great.
All right, I'll find that just for you. Well,
All
thank
right.
you
Well, say
so
hi to
much.
Sophie and Opal and everybody for me, please.
I
Okay.
will.